Hell yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Dream Chasers Insanity. It is your host, the dropout professor himself, with no intention of getting any kind of degree anytime soon, but a couple of cool videos to show you. This is going to be a great one because I believe this even transcends the creative artist journey. This goes all the way to just being able to find ways to win in your everyday life. This is not only long-term success, not only risking it all, betting on yourself and going for the long term, but it's also being able to take those actionable steps in your everyday to continue to reinforce that you are the person who not only can take responsibility for your circumstances, but can impact your reality in such a positive way. You don't feel like you need to be somebody else other than yourself to access the life that you truly desire to live and to access the identity that you can truly feel comfortable existing within. I hope this episode gets to you. I have every intention of giving it to you like that. But I hope this episode really connects to you and allows you to see that, because I was really struggling to decide whether I wanted to title this video this or not, but it was too many words, so I guess I'll just explain it to you right now. How are you in your life right now separating yourself from accessing success? What aspects of your life are you struggling more than succeeding, like drastically struggling more than succeeding, and not allowing yourself an opportunity to find some kind of success, and if not success, at least acceptance in the situation to allow you to at least make steps to get there? How can we not be consequences of our reality, but consequences of the choices that we make to change our reality? Because that's what free will is. It's the opportunity to engage with the entire world at the same exact time, to be valid in the decisions we make and be validated based on the way that the world responds to those decisions. But one thing that I'll get into a little bit later in this part of the video is we have an original sin cult going around the world that has dominated spiritual teaching for the greater half of the last couple centuries, actually past couple millennia, to be honest. And it's very difficult to accept these concepts when fundamentally your perspectives and your philosophies are rooted in rejecting the self in favor of the dominating leaders of whatever the cult group is to tell you what your identity is or to give you validation in what your identity can be. So, not to get too deep into the episode before we get this thing out, because capitalism, hello, feel free to click those links down in the description below if you'd like to support this channel. Completely viewer, supporter, subscriber funded. And I definitely want to keep it that way. So, as long as we can keep going and just being funded by our people, by real ones that actually watch these videos and can actually have their lives changed by way of these videos, we'll, if I say it again, we'd like to keep it that way. So without any further ado, check out the board, get those notebooks out, and let's get ready to go. As you all know here, as you all know, I like to split these videos up into phases because I know I can really just talk so much. And I know I should be putting timestamps in, which I might. Maybe I'll pay somebody to put timestamps in these videos. Or I'm just being lazy and I should do it myself. But I like to break these up into phases so you know this is not just a fact I'm giving you. This is an ongoing conversation that's happening, and you are contributing to the conversation by allowing these concepts to change your circumstances or to change your life. And then from how your life changes, you can contribute to the collective as to how we can better create systems and better cultivate concepts that help us live freely in this human experience. There's going back to what I was speaking about before we had to get into that god awful promo. I'm playing. Um, this original sin cult that we live under as a society, we forget that in rejecting ourselves automatically in favor of the leading religion, we don't give ourselves an opportunity to test and to discern whether or not this religion or this cult group actually favors humanity, or at least humanity beyond the leaders and the people within the group. So as people who have realized how manipulative and how exploitative many self-proclaimed spiritual communities are in this world, I just want to be the person that gives you an opportunity to cut down the next however many years of your life you're going to spend chasing the validation of people who won't give you the right one, so you can accept that truth and then start taking steps into a world where you can finally start at least appreciating the validation of yourself, even if the world isn't willing to give it to you. Because that's one of the most interesting points about, and I'll make a video on this specifically because in my self-concept to self-actualization series course, go ahead and check that out if you haven't. It's completely free. I have a slide in there called Hell is Not Real. And so much of these fear-based systems that we live under, we don't realize it, but in knowing that not necessarily they aren't real, but they are used for the intention of stopping you from actualizing in a way that goes beyond the control of the system at hand. Becoming too radical, too chaotic, not because you're a bad person, even though they'll just throw the devil logo on you, and then now you're a target for their flying monkeys, but truly, truly, truly understand the when you, before we completely just say something that I don't want to say, what I'm truly trying to say is that when people are born into self-rejection, we create a society that says, hey, completely step aside from yourself, from knowing yourself, from loving yourself, from validating yourself, unless society says that it's okay that you can do that. Now, living in a misogynistic, white supremacist, capitalist society, there's very few people that society just inherently validates and appreciates. Everybody else is automatically supposed to reject themselves and dehumanize themselves in favor of serving that one group of people. And isn't it funny how God only looks like one type of person? And there's so many different types of us who have so many different types of and way more complex histories and backstories than these people. But we're all still gaining our salvation through a savior that only looks like them, like him. Mind you, he also used that same savior to enslave us to create his country that we are now living in that we've been living in for the past 250 years. And we actually built for him as well. And if we don't get smart, we are about to allow them to do an America 2.0 in the Middle East. I think I might need to flesh this whole entire thing again. Okay, let's just dig right into this. We can't get into defining what success is or even understanding how to allow it to appreciate our lives if we don't understand the type of success society has us chasing. In understanding that we live in a world where people, especially people who don't have, reject themselves first and then overextend themselves into a society to hope they get validation back for who they want to be. we create a bunch of individuals who never, ever, ever get to a point of validating themselves or fully self-accepting themselves, always allowing them to crutch onto society, always allowing them to make sure that, hey, you know what? As strong, as intelligent, as amazing, as aware as you are, you will never be able to fully complete your own validation. You will always depend on whether it's a higher being, whether it's a government system around you, whether it's giant corporations with money and donors. But you will never fully be able to decide and do and actualize the idea into reality like that. This is what we have to cultivate in a society to bend people down in their own minds, separate them from their own inner power, and project that inner power that comes from personal responsibility, project it into the hands of somebody else. So now you and your life is at the mercy of this other person's ability to validate you in being you. But that person doesn't live inside your body with your ideas and your thoughts and your beliefs and your experience. So how much of you can they truly know? Even if you believed that you were expressing 100% of yourself, how much of you could they really know? And when who you really are starts to express itself outside of what they're willing to validate you as, how come they feel the need to suppress or reject that in favor of what serves them rather than allowing you the space to be that and find some kind of acceptance in who that is? If this isn't a cult. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My bad. But living in a society like the one we live in, the less people have, the less their needs are met, the more desperate they are, really, which is the point I'm trying to get to. The more they will do for the less, for less bits of the crumbs of validation that the rich have been feeding us. It's why you see people on TikTok and whatnot crashing out for likes and views, like not even to get paid, bro, like literally just for likes and views. That's the society we live in. People will do the most for the least because they have absolutely no awareness as to how apart from being able to know and meet their needs they are. And that's why they're behaving like animals like this. Because they're constantly hungry, rabid animals on this hamster wheel, chasing validation, but the wheel is eternal. They're constantly chasing. That means the finish line is never going to show up. That means they're going to run forever until they shut down. And then it's time to put a new hamster on the wheel until they, or unless they decide, you know what? I'm not getting anything other than exploiting myself, exhausting myself. For what? For a good job, for a pat on the back, for a participation trophy? To have my energy taken and not reciprocated? Let me get off this and find a new path I can take that at least reciprocates the energy that I'm willing to put in. And that is when the society and when the system fails you and you realize it, the system has to use the people who are also bought into the system to shame you, to reinforce that you need to continue to reject yourself because all of us reject ourselves. So you have to too, because that's how you do it. Unless society says you can accept yourself, and then you can accept yourself. But if society doesn't say you can, and they're not ready to see you yet, but you're willing to see you, you need to keep rejecting yourself until we want to see you. And then even if you do follow those rules and you accept yourself when we're willing to accept you, then you have to somehow continue chasing our validation after we decide you were just a trend and you weren't somebody that we were willing to appreciate in your complexity. You are, and this is why I always get to the point, whether it's being a creative artist, being a codependent, a people pleaser, if you're healing from a life where you are othered, you have to be willing to, and this might be the one thing you're running from, you have to be willing to go completely alone and decide whether or not you are somebody who is willing of being loved and validated and accepted in your fullness before giving the world another opportunity to disrespect you. I tell you guys, like, it's going to be lonely, the solitude, and it's difficult. But it's, would you want the false community that comes with people who only validate you out of shame, out of your ability to continue to suffer with them, to be ashamed of yourself and reject yourself with them? Or would you rather at least fully be able to accept yourself and then take the steps in expressing yourself to at least give yourself a chance of being appreciated for the real you if that time ever comes, rather than only being validated for a masked version of you? Because if you put the real you out, you wouldn't have any of these opportunities anymore. There's another video I'm going to make. I might put it on my TikTok. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it yet, but I think this is just a perfect example as to this constant, like, the game of external validation seeking, and how this has almost replaced our ability as human beings to value ourselves and say, hey, no, I don't care for the validation. I need compensation because I'm exhausting myself for this. I'm investing myself in this. And there needs to be some kind of reciprocation if we're going to prolong this relationship. That can be with you and your hobbies, you and your friends, you and your employer, you and your educator, you and your mentors. But we've created this world where it's like, the people who have are the saviors, and the people who don't are the damsels. And we're all just supposed to be sitting here waiting, hoping somebody saves us from our own limitations and our own self to be who we're supposed to be. How is any of that supposed to come from the outside of you? Except for coming from the outside of you to push you back into yourself, or to re-inspire looking inward, to remember, oh, I'm attached to these things on the outer world because they remind me of me. And I've always had to decide, oh my goodness, there are connections between the outer world and the inner world, and my ability to navigate those relationships and balance those energies will allow me to actualize on the fullness of this experience, rather than constantly being a slave to my circumstances, constantly being an effect of the circumstances that I cannot control. I can't even help influence, because I refuse to take the responsibility necessary to do that. And that is the point that I need to get to before we moved off this. The reason why so many more people will jump on this hamster wheel of validation is because you don't actually have to do the work, and you don't actually have to get rejected or punished for being wrong or for failing. You can just live vicariously through people who actually have to wear the brunt of living a real life, while at the same time gaining their validation to feel in a pseudo sense that you have, but this is going to sound very crazy, but the person that you are seeking the validation from has done the thing that you wanted, has the thing that you want, or is the person that you want to be. And instead of taking the steps to become that, instead of being inspired externally to look within and make the changes to express something in alignment with that, you are going to sit back, let them do it, let them be the successful person, let them be the celebrity, the athlete, the creative, the star, the president, and then hope that one day they touch your hand at a concert, and then you just never wash your hand again. Or one day, like, they respond to your fan mail, or they like your post, or they repost your tweet. Like, how sorry of a society are we, bruh? Like, other human beings can make you feel so less than. Instead of us realizing, I can do that too. I can be this great. I can be this amazing. I can expand myself to, they've already done it. Why would I try? Let me just hope that they see me, so I don't have to go on the journey of being rejected and being something that I want, or having or chasing something that I want. I can just backseat drive the people that actually inspire me because I'm afraid. It's crazy as fuck, bro. And this, before we finish again, this just dropped into my head. This whole social game, like hamster wheel, this stops people from being alone. Like, this is what these holistics and neurotypicals love doing. It's this constant surface level engagement that means absolutely nothing. It may mean something. I just don't get it. The autism doesn't allow me to clock into that type of stuff. But you can feel as if you're participating in society. You can feel as if you're doing something. You can feel as if you are said identity without actually being. And that is why I wrote right here, sell convenience of social validation for mask instead of acceptance of true self. Because you have too many people accepting their true selves, you can't control that kind of society. You can't control that. You have to set standards in celebrities, and you have to have everybody complicit to what you want the standard to be. Because the second you start allowing people to be creative, you start allowing people to be expressive, that's when you start holding powerful people accountable. You start realizing, oh, powerful people are supposed to be responsible for making this the best world for the people, not the best reality for themselves by exploiting the fuck out of the people who, run this place. To get out of phase one, what the hell are we going to do? So many people are stuck here in phase one for a multitude of different reasons, of course. But personally, why do I think a bunch of people are stuck in phase one? Because their definition of success is rooted in what other people think success is. So they're constantly going to be playing by the rules of other people and how other people determine success to be, and hold themselves at the standard of other people who will probably living through different foundations and different circumstances. This is one thing I had to really hit on, especially going through my own self-improvement journey, my own self-awareness journey, looking at these influencers who say, oh, eat 4 meals a day, and I go to this, and I walk my dog, and I have my girlfriend. And it's like the day is so perfectly planned out, but it's so much stuff being done at the same time. And you sit here and think, dude, what average everyday person living through late stage capitalism, bro, who has like a real job and like struggling to make friends and doesn't get the social game and, like is too poor to participate in the trending culture? Like, how does that apply to me, bro? And I was in thinking that is what a successful lifestyle looked like. I was spending all this money buying supplements I didn't need, buying clothes I didn't need, buying products I didn't need, showing up at places that didn't accept me, attempting to buy digital products and courses and workshops that were not going to help me because they didn't know me. They were just selling another illusion, another dream for people to buy into and waste their money on. It was just another capitalist cycle, another dream sold to me that I bought, sadly. But let's get a moment of silence for that, bro, because I'll be working hard. Let's get a moment of silence for that. And the only time I can genuinely say my life changed for the better was when I realized that the point of the journey is self-acceptance. It's got nothing to do with becoming somebody, period, like a set identity. It's about recognizing you are a complex, fluid soul in a human body, in a society that is very rigid. And to accommodate that, you have to validate the complexity, the fluidity of your soul, and then allow your understanding of this society and how we communicate with each other and your awareness of this inner complex being to then create a medium through whether it be identity or through engagement to exist, cohabitat in this society. But it comes through, and I'm begging you guys for personal responsibility of your own life circumstances, because that is when you can decide, you can create your own standards, hold yourself to your own commitments, your own loyalties, decide what it means to you to be successful, even if that's as simple as succeeding in getting up and doing one thing every day. And consistently you develop that perception of, that perspective of success, and continue over time to continue to build and to grow and to add on to and to audit and to transform, knowing that success is what you decide it is to be. And if you don't get a grasp on what success is to you, you're going to continue to fail at other people's definition of success, consider yourself a failure, and then live a life on the other side of having failed a journey, a path, a lifestyle that was never authentic to you and you never meant to succeed on. You just weren't willing to go on the steps to decide what life was authentic to you. And this could even be because the life that's truly authentic to you is one that your current environment or circumstances will reject you from. And since you are so codependent on the validation of the external, you will go to double down on rejecting yourself beyond what your circumstances are going to do. I'll give a quick little example. We'll say a dude, a closeted gay dude who lives in a super homophobic, super traditional, conservative, racist town in like Texas. And that being, in not being able to express themselves, in not being able to follow their own goals, their own standards, their own intentions, they are now forced to suppress, literally punch themselves down to mold themselves into a version that is acceptable by their circumstances. But since that isn't possible, because regardless of the circumstances around them, that's still a gay dude in that body. To almost solidify the rejection, to finally feel good within the self, that gay dude is going to have to be extra homophobic, extra mean towards people that identify in alignment with his truth and that are allowed to express it in their reality, because he's not allowed to express it in his. And he cannot know that there is space in the world for him to be himself, or else that forces him to question why he hasn't taken the steps to live in that world rather than continuing to reject the self and live in the one that hates him. Let's move on to part 2, see if we got more stuff for you. So this is a terrific time to get into phase 2, because getting out of here is already difficult enough. And I'm very proud of you if you were able to, whether it's a family system, it's a social group or community, you were able to flee that and decide that who you are, the fullness of who you are, and serving that is more important than sacrificing all of that to serve whoever is giving you the validation that you're so gleefully sucking on right now. We've already made a video about rock bottom reality. I've probably made like 2 or 3 videos actually about rock bottom reality. But the most important part that applies to this circumstance is you're going to have to unmask if you truly want to find out what success is. I don't only want to pit success on self-acceptance. I actually believe something more than that. And that is, it's literally a constant journey. And you being aware of the journey allows you to better navigate it. At least just being aware, not knowing the right answers, because everything changes. We are constantly changing. But giving yourself the opportunity to know the process that goes on. And then to collaborate with who you are inside your soul that only you know, to help make this an experience that you can fully engage in. But that engagement, that genuine engagement, starts with even being able to accept this vessel that you're using. Because how can you use this to the fullness of what it is if you don't even appreciate it, much less know what it is? Don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question. Starts with self-rejection with our mask on. And then we reject ourselves so much until we don't have anybody else to reject us. And the only person rejecting us is ourselves. That's when we decide if we are going to completely give up on figuring out who we are in here and taking care of that, and then giving life to that plant to let it grow through here and then appreciate our experience. Or, actually, I think I just described both of them. I might have actually just described both of them when I was trying to talk about. But to make sure that I didn't miss it, self-rejection lands in two areas. You totally reject yourself, or you decide, you know what? Let me reject my current circumstances so I can find out what there is to accept in here. And then allow the world to accept and appreciate me in the ways that I am growing in doing so myself. Without needing them to, allowing them to. It's almost like a narcissist and empathetic individual split. But if you're fortunate enough, if you're on this page, I guarantee you, I'm not going to say you're not going to go down the narcissistic path, but it's going to be very difficult for you to, because we just do so much work on the inside of ourselves. It's difficult for the narcissistic behavior and tendencies to fester in places where you're constantly focusing your attention and your energy onto. Not worrying energy, you're constantly focusing to be the person you know you need to be, a healthy and intentional, a righteous individual. So you don't worry about falling into these traps, falling into these identities that enslave you to your vices, that enslave you to your suffering or your mask even. You allow yourself to be who you are, and you continue to grow and accept that, whoever that is, along the way. That's where the mask on. Fucking mask on. But that's where the future bar comes in so perfectly. Mask on, bucket, mask off. Like when you start to accept yourself, it's almost like, or when you start to go in that process of unmasking, and not like the, unmasking, like I'm losing my humanity, I hate myself part. I'm talking about after that, when you're like, oh, this autism or this creativity or this new orientation that I'm expressing myself in, like this is pretty cool. And I'd much rather do this and grow into doing this more than constantly putting myself and my real desires and my real feelings aside to hope that somebody validates me in a way that compensates me for literally losing myself. As you grow on this journey, you're going to want to mask less. I promise you. And then the less you want to mask, the more you're going to realize, oh my goodness, there is no perfect job, relationship, friendship, home that I can have. There's no perfect thing that I can have that's going to complete me in this life. It's being able to go and express myself and discover myself and to change myself and to add on to myself and to release from myself. It's to go on this journey and to know that this journey of myself, my unique individual self, is so important and so significant in this life, even if it means nothing to nobody else around me. this can always be my little thing that I have, that I go on, that I'm always able to add on to and be a part of. Always, always, always. This is my thing. And I can continue to water this plant. If I have nobody or if I have the whole world with me, I can continue to water this plant. I can continue to care for, to be here for, to express, to accept, to. And it's you. It's almost like parenting, like raising yourself again. And in being able to do that, you realize there's nothing more that I want than a support system, a community, a world that continues to allow this energy to cultivate. Me to help cultivate it, and then it to start to grow into cultivating itself. So it's just habitual what I'm doing. It goes from conscious choices, one after the next, after the next, after the next, to I wake up and I am, followed by behaviors that reinforce this identity that you desire to be. I wrote this note here, and I hope you can read it. I'll read it for you first, and then I'll tell you what I'm trying to say with it. Dragged to hell to remember your own divinity, then responsible for creating and cultivating heaven on earth. I think that was beautiful. Why? Disney? The council in my head asked. Well, what I'm trying to say with this is when you've spent so much time rejecting yourself apart from your body, go check out my No Contact Narcissist course. I get real into the spiritual nature of this, like separation from the body, the soul and the body separation. So go ahead and free course. It's on you if you don't take it, because I'm going to start charging for it in like a year. I promise you I'm going to start charging for it. But what I'm trying to say here before I continue to get lost in my own tangents is simply when you have spent, your soul merges into your body when you're born into this earth, right? You are not your body. Your soul merges into your body as you come into this earth. Okay? I just had a crazy theory that came up. That's how my brain works. I'm so sorry. When you are born into this original sin mindset, the second you are born with your soul connected to your body, instead of becoming aware of that, learning how to become aware of self and then become aware of that, you're automatically, boom. This soul that is inside the body, no, the body is of service to the world. And the soul needs to be rejected unless we can use it to better our ability to manufacture these body-slaved people. But the more you continue to reject yourself, reject and suppress your truth, be apart from yourself, the more you're going to create unnecessary suffering on this experience. And as somebody who believes that heaven and hell are internal experiences that can be felt while you are alive, that's what I feel hell is. Like a Chinese finger trap, constantly separating yourself from yourself from your truth, constantly, until your reality literally needs to snap for something to rip this back together. And for so many, that process is so abrupt and is so quick and is so drastic. There's nothing else to do but self-delete or completely crash out. Because they don't know how to feel that power. I doubt many people know how to feel that, much less respond to that, or vice versa. However, that's supposed to go in the English rhetoric, freaking grammar book. Somebody Grammarly that. But when you start to realize, when you start to go back on this journey, of of self-acceptance, you have to realize, as a person who's disconnected your soul from your body, it's literally going to feel like dragging yourself back into hell. your soul back into hell because you've abandoned your body for so long, whether it's by drugs, it's by sex, it's by body modification, it's by just not taking care of yourself health-wise. You as a soul have to go back into the awareness of this being that you've disrespected, rejected, suppressed for so long, and it is going to first feel like hell. That's why I say this journey, like, it's not a pretty one. Like, society can't sell you this self-improvement is you just wake up one day and want to not be fat anymore. Like, it's just so poor, stupid, the kind of things that are shared in this society. And I feel so horrible for people that are truly trying to better themselves in a world that doesn't want to sell you anything but scams and dreams. But again, to not get too lost from the point, it's going to feel like being dragged into hell because your awareness has been apart from taking care of your vessel, where you could be experiencing heaven, but you are not living in the present moment. You aren't even living in your body. You are just abusing your body through your awareness. My bad, I just had a guest come say hi. But I'm locked in, so I will not wave till the session's over. And when you get back into this hell, back against the wall, forced to rely on who you are in spite of all your circumstances, that's when you are forced to remember how divine you are, how powerful you are as a human being. There's nothing else. You can't lean on anything else but yourself and your gifts and whoever you really are, because there's no support. That is what makes, I don't know if you want to call it, that's what makes man or whatever the fuck that bullshit is. But simply put, that's where we find out who you really are. Okay? And in doing that, however you respond to that circumstance, probably solitude, however you respond to that and the standards you set for your being in that moment will be the lifestyle that you live. Will you be somebody who is living a piss poor life on the other side of this traumatic experience of self-awareness because, my life circumstances suck, my parents suck, my reality sucks, this sucks, everything sucks, so I just won't do anything? Nihilistic black pill? Or are you going to be a narcissist? Well, my upbringing was so garbage, now I have to be garbage because this is all I know, and you guys have to take it. Or are you going to be a real one, shaga, like the people in our community, and are you going to say, no. In spite of hell, wherever it is, whether it's the whole world on fire or it's just me burning on the inside of my being, this is my opportunity to show the world, show this reality, what goodness, what light I have to contribute from my own self. How I can influence creating, contributing to, cultivating a heaven within my own being, taking responsibility for this. So when the world is ready to take responsibility for their own heaven and hell on the inside of their selves, we can share what we found and what unique gifts and what unique aspects we have to contribute to the collective together from the foundation of learning how to even exist in the now and cultivate and appreciate the self to the external. Instead of thinking, oh, well, it's so sad what's happening to that person over there, we should go try to save them. And then getting disappointed when the savior complex gets violated by reality. So what are we trying to save from phase 2? Mask on. Bucket mask off. Now we know that success is defined on the inside and then validated by the outside, not defined on the outside and then validated on the inside, because that's how we become lifelong failures in games that we should not be playing. What's the final piece? With great power comes great responsibility. What is the great responsibility we must take to attain the great power? Tell me, Dark Wizard. You just have to know that the significance of whatever you desire to succeed in, or however the significance of the success is, must be complemented by some kind of sacrifice of equal or greater value. And I'm not talking an eye for an eye. That is very like human, base level human. I'm literally speaking I'm literally just saying it's not an eye for an eye. There's no specific way to say, oh, well, this is the analogy, not this analogy. Like, no. It's simply you being aware of what needs to be done to make this happen, and then doing the things it takes to make it happen, and sacrificing whatever you're still holding on to that's not allowing you to let this happen. Many people won't make the sacrifices. They will do what it takes for the fame, for the wealth, for the success. They're going to do what it takes for that. But ain't no way in hell, real or not, ain't no way they're going to sacrifice this kind of stuff. And what people don't understand is that you're not sacrificing this stuff forever. You're not killing it. You're reorganizing, redistributing energy. You're redistributing intention from the self into your life. Because you know that a successful lifestyle for you, being able to achieve success in a way that is authentic to who you are, allows you to be the best person in those friendships, allows you to have the most balanced lifestyle authentic to you and how you live, allows you to gratify yourself, because it's not instant gratification. It's gratification that has come on the other end of delaying it because you've decided to take time to overdo investing in yourself right now. Because you'd rather win big 5 years from now than win okay 5 minutes from now. It's such a weird thing. And it's crazy because the people who cling on to these things so hard, that are afraid of sacrificing these things so hard, it's usually because they already naturally feel like they don't deserve success. So they have to cling on to somebody else who is successful, or cling on to an opportunity or an environment that is successful, so they can by proxy be successful as well. But never truly having the strength to go on the individual journey and to make those sacrifices for the self, to go out on a limb for the self and maybe lose it, to put your whole soul into something and have it get crushed in front of everybody's eyes, and still have the self-value, the inner value to keep going. That's why, like in this side right here, I said so many people would much rather be on this hamster wheel instead of this diamond of success, the hamster wheel of external validation, and this diamond of success, because you can choose. When you're living vicariously through winners, then you can win as long as they're winning. And then you can just move to another winner when you get tired of them losing. But in this one, you have to learn how to accept yourself when you're winning, when you're losing, when you're up, when you're down, when you're tired, when you're sore, when you're confused, when you're anxious, when you're worried, when you're paranoid. You have to accept yourself out of all of it. And you have to take responsibility for not only sacrificing and gaining, but organizing yourself to make sure that there is no sabotage to your success beyond the sacrifices that you've already had to make to gain that kind of success. And remember, I'll always tell you, success, coming from me, your teacher, dropout professor, your dark wizard, Has to be authentic to you. The world can inspire you to better know, to have deeper clarity in that perspective of success, but success is authentic to you. Success is something that needs to be achievable and attainable in every aspect of your life. And then better developing those relationships of success by taking more risk. Actually, we're about to just jump into that in a second here. Let me not get too ahead of myself because I have an important example that I need to explain first about sacrifice. A couple of examples. So if you watched Avengers and Endgame, Infinity War, like that, kind of the last good movies that Marvel was able to pull off, you know that Thanos went out of his way to sacrifice his own daughter for one of the stones that he needed to complete his gauntlet of destruction, of universal destruction. Sacrificed his own daughter. Now again, this is not even existential. This is literally like in a fantasy world, but I'm pretty sure the meaning behind that was to show you are literally not selling your soul, but are you willing to trade of the same value that is this soul stone in exchange for it? And the only thing we're going to take in exchange for the soul stone is basically your soul. I think is as a reader, as a writer, as somebody who enjoys the creative kind of like experience space, I think that was a very beautiful scenario. Not the dad killing his daughter. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm speaking about just the ability to make that connection. You want this thing so bad in your life, this soul stone so bad in your life, that you would sacrifice your daughter that you care about, because the only thing you can exchange is something you genuinely care about. You're willing to sacrifice your daughter for it, giving up your soul for the illusion of a soul. And again, I don't know how many guys play God of War or how many video gamers I have on this page, but another example, Kratos. I have this clip in one of the videos that I've already made. Ares! What does he say? Ares, free me from my enemies, and my soul is yours. He knows. He knows. It's you any kind of value. You are not getting a good deal there, and maybe this is me being hypervigilant, but there's no way in hell on God's green earth you are getting a good deal if somebody genuinely is willing to give you success or opportunity without telling you the necessary sacrifice that comes with it. Because I guarantee you the sacrifice is going to be your soul for that soul stone. No, that's just me getting crazy over here at the end of the video. But if those two examples didn't resonate with you, I'll give you my own example from my own life. And this one is, I decided that to gain the success that was authentic to me, success and live a successful life that I believed was successful, which is the life that I believe I deserve, that is success to me, I'm willing to sacrifice anything that doesn't align with that. And again, that's super drastic, and I don't recommend anybody to do that. I think you should just grow into the person you need to be and allow the people who don't align with that to reject you and then just see themselves out the door. That's a way healthier way to do it. I just decided where I wanted to be. I needed to be there like yesterday. So people had to clear house quick. But I understand, especially as somebody who grew up in a narcissistic family, codependent, people pleaser, self-rejecting, self-hating, everything that you could think of, bro. I knew that who I was in that life was not somebody that was receiving the respect that I believed, that I knew I deserved. And I wasn't going to forcefully humble people in my life or go in an outburst or an outrage on people in my life because they didn't validate me in that way. I was going to cut off access to me, remove myself, and then continue to cultivate the value I already know is there while aligning with people who also support that vision, making sure that that happens. Sacrificing everything that's getting in the way, because if you truly love me and you want me to win, you would help me clear the way for my success, right? You wouldn't be in the way of my success. So a lot of people forget, like, they'd much rather have the illusion of what they want right now to stop them from taking responsibility for actually getting what they want tomorrow. That's it. We're not even going to clip another video of this. We're just going to drag this into right now. What are some actionable steps that you can take to not only better define success to yourself, but to actually be successful? A couple recommendations from the kid. Set goals. Most of you guys don't even, maybe not the people on my page. The people on my page are very smart. But general society, most people don't even have a planner. Like, they give kids planners at school, and some people don't even write in them. Free planners, or maybe ASB started charging you so they could start going to Disneyland more often. But like, they give you planners. People don't use planners. People don't even buy planners. And if they do, it's for like social media marketing. It's not even for like school or for like daily life shit. Set goals. And right after you set those goals, and I'm telling you, like, they need to be big goals. Dream big, set reasonable goals, continue to take risks to maximize on those goals, and then learn from the wins and the losses that you take on that journey. And the second those losses start to drag you out of truly being able to invest in the competition and being able to reinvest in self and reciprocate that energy, then move on to a different kind of relationship, a different kind of competition, a different kind of goal. And start to actualize yourself through that goal, through that journey, through that process. Continuing to realize that you are not a slave to your identity or whatever identity gives you the most validation. You are at the mercy of your ability to be aware of all the things that you are, and then at your ability to actualize those things into this reality. Setting goals, you're taking risks, you're learning from all of it. Because if you're willing to learn, you don't lose. And if the only thing you can do other than win is lose, and you're not doing that, so you're going to win and you're going to learn, then it's only a matter of time before you succeed again. And then success becomes a standard. It's not something that we dream about. It's who we are. How beautiful is that? It's never apart from us. We lose sometimes. We lose for periods of time. We lose occasionally, but it's because there's something we need to figure out to help us succeed again. But we're just on the other side of success. That's why you take these risks. That's why you go this deep. That's why you go this hard and this far on this journey, because you have to realize there's some things that are complete dead ends for a majority of people that are just locked doors for those of us who are meant to do great things in this life. And sometimes you got to bust the whole door down, bro. I'm sorry. The lock is there just to tell you to not go in. Mind you, do not take this advice for anything in like interacting with human beings. When there's a lock on somebody's door, or when somebody tells you no, accept it for what it is. But when it comes to chasing your dreams and breaking free from your own personal limitations, please violate the fuck out of them. Please violate all of your limitations. Destroy them, conquer them, and remind yourself how divine and how great you are in your existence, and how strong and powerful you are in your ability to make decisions and actualize on them, instead of making decisions and then mentally masturbating them until you don't do anything in your real life. Final part. Give back more than you take. This is something that I wish not just billionaires and rich people did, but this is something I genuinely wish we all did as a society. And of course, we have to get to a point where there's poor people is like a what? Like an anomaly almost. But we're so far from that, and capitalism still has to like shoot itself in the head first. But as somebody who wants to be more engaged, more into, or at least less attached to specific events and experiences and things in this life, and more just in tune with the experience of life as a whole, always feel as if you're responsible for giving more, investing more, committing harder, being more real, more authentic, more expressive. Always feel like that is the standard, and I guarantee you'll never feel like you're losing anything. Because the standard is already to give more than you have, but not for the validation of the world beyond you. It's because you don't want to put anything up to chance or have anything that you genuinely care about be taken from you on a schedule that is not conducive to one that you already had planned out. Automatically create in your head, I create so much value. My existence, my being, what I do creates so much value. In that, it is necessary, it is my responsibility to share. And in that, may I inspire other people to take the steps to success in their own life so they can help make this a successful experience for others around them. Yeah, let's go. It's another video. I probably just look like an 8 right there in front of all these normies. But thank you guys. That should be the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for being here. If you stayed till the end of the video, thank you, because this is super long, bro. And like, I don't want you to feel like this is another chore you have to do in your real life. I want you to feel like you just show up here and you get some good game, some genuine wisdom, some quality advice from just a big homie. And that's it. And we continue to appreciate each other's lives in the real worlds that we live, while being able to commune on this digital platform and share that love together. Until we're sharing love in the real world, you let me know. But regardless, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for contributing, whether it's this page, whether it's this community, whether it's my wallet and my bank account. Thank you for contributing your energy, your time, your investment. I guarantee you it's more than just today that I'm thinking about. It's the whole world. It's the whole life that I'm thinking about. And I'm very, very, very blessed that I'm able to pursue such a lifestyle with such ferocity, such intensity in a world that is just so ridiculously ashamed of themselves and is so apart from being able to accept their truth. I'm really praying in this life that my authenticity opens the door for other people, especially whether it's Black, nerd, romantics, just dope, Negroes, autistics, neurodivergents, like all of us social rejects from like the Aryan Jesus that don't fall in his family. May we find the value in ourselves. May we connect to the divinity that has always been a part of us and we've been forced to reject within ourselves to make this world a better place, regardless if Aryan Jesus is going to come save these niggas or not. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time. I hope this lesson, this lecture applied, contributed some value to the life that you live and makes it a lot easier to live in a world that is constantly changing. I don't know what I was going to say on the other end of that, but go follow me on Instagram if you think I'm sexy. I love you guys. You have a great one. I'll see you next time.